Hey everybody, good morning. Today I'm going to talk about consistency. Um, you know, Consistent action leads to consistent results. Inconsistent action leads to random results and generally an unhealthy, tired, mentally draining situation where you just don't know. Like you're just kind of like doing something and let's see what happens, right? And that's not what we want. What prompted me to think about this was that so we have a realtor that's guiding us through the process of looking for homes, right? And I don't understand the process. I don't know the process. I don't have any experience. We buy a house like once every 15, 30 years, something like that, right? If that, you might only buy one or maybe never at all. We went through it 15 years ago, and we had somebody with a poor process leading us through the process, and we made mistakes. This time, we're going with a friend of mine that I've known for years who is a stickler about process, wants to have a good sales process, but also have a good process for guiding his clients through it. And with all of the emotions in looking for houses, searching for houses, all of the things you have to do with getting pre-approved for a mortgage and getting your finances and everything pulled together, on top of having a job, having responsibilities, having a family, um, there's a lot going on, and I don't understand it all. And even the things that I do understand, I tend to maybe forget parts of the process or things that were told to me because I'm not familiar with it, right? And so I rely on somebody that I trust to bring in a process and say, this is what we need to do every step of the way. And there's hand holding involved. Look, I'm a pretty smart guy, but I don't know the process. And it would take me too long to learn the process. So I have somebody that leads me along and gets me the outcome that I want. And that's very much what we're doing with Define My Day. I don't need you to come up with your own process. You don't need yourself to come up with your own process. If you want the results, then you follow our process. And that's big with Define My Day. If you follow the process, even if you follow it lightly at first and kind of get into it, that's okay. But you follow the process, and the closer you follow the process, the more likely you are to get those positive results. And what happens is the reason we need this process is, myself included, we're fooled growing up into thinking that if we just work hard, we'll get the result we want. The problem is we generally don't know which direction to work towards. So we start working hard in a lot of different directions, and it leads to stress and anxiety and discontent with where we are in life. And so we have to learn to develop that clear vision of where we want to go and what we want. And we need to develop a clear understanding of the steps that we need to take to get there. And what it looks like, the difference in the two things is, when you don't have a process to follow and when you don't have a direction to go, you're just doing whatever feels right in the moment. And you might, at one moment say, I want to learn the piano. And then you invest time and money into learning the piano. And then you're going, well, wait a minute, I need to get a promotion in my job. And so then you quit the piano and you go do everything you need to get a promotion in your job. You study, you work hard, you shadow somebody, you talk to your boss, you stay late, whatever. And then you're like, well, this isn't the job for me. And then but my family's falling apart. So then you go and you focus on your family, and you're doing all the things you need to do to get your family back up to speed and repair your relationships and get to know your kids again. So you're going in all of these different directions with full force, and you maybe don't have a good understanding of why you want to do each thing. And so if you take a closer look at the direction you want to go in life, you can look at, playing the piano and say, yeah, it would be really nice to play the piano. I would love to do that. It would enrich my life. Right now, I don't have time to do that. I actually need to make more money because I need to provide for my growing family. I need a promotion. So that's where I need to focus my time. So it's Jim Collins actually in I think it was From Good to Great. It's a business book, but he talks in business about firing bullets and firing cannonballs. And so a business, when they try to make a strategic decision, you don't want to just go boom and fire a cannonball real fast and see where it lands and see how it ends up, because you're draining resources. You're spending a lot of money on that big cannonball. You want to fire a bullet first and see if it lands and see if you're successful with that bullet. And then you keep trying to like refine the direction and where you're going. And then when you find something that's really successful, then you fire your cannonballs. Then you fire your big investment. And it's that way in life too. We can search out where we want to go by taking like little feelers and like, just say, hey, does this work for me? Okay, maybe not. It doesn't make me feel right. I need to pull back a little bit. Does this work for me? No, that doesn't feel right either. I'm going to pull back a little bit. Well, this actually, I kind of like this. Is this what I want to do? I don't know. Let me feel around here a little bit. And you can do this with your job, your relationships, with hobbies. Like you don't have to do anything out of a sense of obligation. But we don't want to feel like we have to do something because we've made such a huge upfront investment. You want to be consistent with your results through being consistent with your actions. And that consistency can even be dabbling here, dabbling there, dabbling here. Like you can be a consistent dabbler as long as you have a goal in mind. I'm going to try a couple of things until I find something I really want to invest my time in. And then when you find that thing you want to fire all your cannonballs at, then you take those steps every day. You wake up every day and align your actions with that direction that you want to go. You can't wake up one day and say, man, I'm going to lose weight. I am going to get down to this weight. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to live a long time. I'm going to do this. And then wake up one day, go at it. Wake up the next day, you go at it hard. Wake up the third day and you're like, you know what? I don't feel like it today. I know today is day 3 and my break day is day 5, but it's okay. I'll take the day off. That's not being consistent. That's not committing to a plan and following it. And you're doomed to have the results of somebody that is not consistent, which are going to be short of the results that plan will give you. Same thing with, on the break day, if there's a plan for the break day, if day 6 is the break day and they say, here, you're not exercising, but stick to your diet, and you blow up your diet and you eat 4,000 calories over your diet, well, you've wiped out all the gains you've had the entire week, right? So you've wiped out that entire calorie deficit. And the similar thing happens with the Define My Day process. It's a little bit foggier because we don't necessarily see the progress we're making every day. But when you get up every day, you write down your priorities, you commit to following through on your priorities, and then you journal and discover what happened in the day and how you're processing it in your mind, and then reset your attention and then do it again. The more you follow that process, the more steps you're taking forward. And let's not kid ourselves. These days where we say, I didn't do it today, I haven't been consistent. Wow, this process isn't working for me, is sometimes where we end up with that. Well, you didn't follow the process. The process is not going to work for you if you're not following it. So you have to follow it. You have to, it doesn't take time. It takes 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes most, right? We know this, but we find creative ways to go do something else. And I'm not going to tell you that I didn't fall off myself over these years. And we have people that fall off the process and even try something else. And we just had somebody in this group last week post about it. Like, it gives you perspective. And that's part of the dabbling, right? That's part of firing the bullets, trying other things. Well, they didn't work for me, but this one thing did work. I'm going to move back over to it. That's okay too. You might find something that works better. That's okay too. But you have to follow a process. You have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not going to get optimal results. It's a fact of life in everything you're doing. So what I want you to do today, and you don't even have to answer Define My Day. What in your life are you not doing consistently where it's stopping you from reaching the goal that you want? Throw it in the comments. Let me know what you are not doing consistently that you know you need to. How are you hurting your results by not being consistent with your daily actions? It's a hard reality to face, and I understand. It's for some reason we are just wired to be this way. And I don't know why. I'm going to figure it out eventually. Somebody will give me the answer. I will figure it out somehow. But we need to redirect our focus to be consistent. So give me that in your comments today. Let me know what you will be consistent about. So going back to yesterday's, the Making It Messy post, right? The Making It Messy. We have all sorts of things that are going on in here. Things that we just need to get off of our plate. Now, there are things in here that might be a priority because it's an emergency, immediate priority. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to say hi to the people that are commenting right now. Janice, good morning. Gemma, good morning. Belinda, good morning. Logging in your food journal. I hear you. I hear you. Janice, it feels like everything. Janice, if it feels like everything, then what I want you to do is pick one thing. The healthiest thing that you can do to be consistent. With a lot of people, a lot of times it's sleep. And that has a dynamic effect. That's a keystone habit. It has a dynamic impact on everything else. So I don't know if this is you, but if you're not sleeping well, if you're not sleeping regularly, I want you to take that one thing and decide what time you're going to bed and what time you're going to wake up. And do the things that you need to do to get some shut-eye for the appropriate amount of time, right? That's my thing. Me working on my sleep. When I sleep consistently well, it has a dynamic impact on every other part of my mindset, my day, my energy levels, all of it. Today, my energy level is high because I have been sleeping well. I have been taking care of myself from a sleep perspective. And I can take care of it. I can take care of everything else more effectively. So I don't know how you are. I don't know what your situation is, but what I would recommend is pick that one thing where you can just start to be consistent every day and commit to it and do it every day, whatever it is. You got sleep. Next, what do you want to do after sleep? I don't know. Is it exercise? Do you do 15 minutes of exercise every day? Maybe it's define my day. Maybe it's just with define my day, taking it slow. A lot of people, when they're first starting out, the whole process is just a little bit too big for them. So what I would say is just every day, write down your priority, like the one thing you want to commit to doing today. Make it messy, like we talked yesterday. And then on the backside, journal how you felt. You don't even need to address the disciplines, the goals, and all the other stuff. Just follow the days, the day 1, day 2, day 3, and go through that process. Identifying your intention and doing your journaling at the end of the day. Follow that simple process and develop that rhythm. Go through that. If it's exercise, if you're not getting exercise, do that every day. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all you got to do. If it's, for me, I'll tell you what, for me, it was one of the things that I wanted to do consistently to be healthy was flossing my teeth every night. I wasn't consistently flossing my teeth every night. It sounds stupid, sounds trivial, right? But in my mind, I want to be healthy all around in my life. And I wasn't flossing every night. And I don't have a cavity in my mouth so far, knock on wood, right? But if I want to continue that way, if I don't want to have dentist bills, if I don't want to have toothaches, if I want to have all my teeth when I'm older, I have to do that one thing consistently. So now, as part of my daily disciplines, every night, check off, flossed before bed, right? Floss before brushing my teeth. So it's just it can be really small. But that little thing, when you do that little thing, like flossing, it's so stupid. It's so trivial, right? It's just flossing. It takes like a minute. So I put on headphones and I do it while I'm listening to something. But that little trivial thing, we're practicing following through. We're practicing commitment. We're practicing follow through. We're practicing being that person that decides to move forward and take that one thing off of our plate that might bother us later down the road. Because if you don't do that one thing, then you're unhealthy. It stacks up. You have medical bills. You have pain, you have inflammation, you have a lot of things down the road. And when you have many things in many different areas, it weighs on you. And those little, it's like little rocks piling up on top of you, and you get crushed under the weight. So you just start picking one thing at a time. One thing. I'm going to floss every night before bed. And that's all I did. And then I just started adding more and more and more. And that's how I ended up with like 25 disciplines in my book, right? Because I just picked one thing. And then I just picked another. And I just picked another. And that's it. Now I take my vitamins. I floss my teeth. I do all the stuff. Reading with my boys at night. Like all the things that just now, it's just things I do. It's not so much a burden anymore. It's just things that are part of my personality. Oh, good morning. I'm glad you're inspired to make quality changes. I love it. I love it. Do it. So Janice, what's messy? I think you're asking like what's messy, like what I'm referring to there. If you check out the video from yesterday, we talk about like just accomplishing something and making it messy. So just whatever it is, just make it messy, get it done, get it off your plate, and then move on to the next thing. We want to be in the habit of accomplishing, like resolving things, getting things to completion. Just get it done, no matter how messy it is. Some examples of that, we had somebody who was cleaning out their closet. They had large wooden hangers, and they were condensing it. They were switching everything to small, narrow hangers so they could fit more in their closet and have a more open space. That's a big deal, right? If you're constantly every day going in your closet and it's all jammed packed and you can't fit anything else in there, over time that beats you down. And while that might not seem like a priority that would improve your life, like, man, that person had great closets. What it is, it's a point of discipline. And it's that nagging thing that bothers you every day. And when we can finally take care of that, then we're more free mentally, from a frustration standpoint and from just something that's wearing on us. Like when we free ourselves of those little things, we have more mental capacity to focus on the bigger things that move us forward. Somebody moving is packing a box per day. Packing a box per day. How many of us wait till the last minute and try to pack up the entire house? That's something that I need to be doing pretty soon, I hope. Tackling your awful desk, right? So that's one thing that I can relate to, because my desk goes from usually organized to complete disaster area and then back again. So one of my struggles currently is maintaining a good work environment. And I know how that impacts me. I can feel it. When I walk into my office and it's a mess, when there's something on the floor, things on the floor, when there's paper across my desk, I might know where everything is, but that clutter hits me here somewhere, and it has a negative impact. And I know how much better I feel when it's orderly. And I used to make excuses. Oh, the smartest people have messy desks. Well, for me, that it has a negative impact. And as much as I want to tease myself into thinking that I'm as smart as some genius mathematician, I'm not. And I have really no excuse to not have a clean desk. And somebody else on here, they had a messy month, right? And I've recently gone through this. And when you have a messy month and you feel like you're just putting out fires, it's hard to focus on the little discipline-y type things. And so then everything gets messy. I can relate. I can absolutely relate. And I think that that's when we need consistency the most. And I think the most successful people are the ones that, one, avoid those really messy periods through, sidestepping potential, landmines. The relationships that we build help with that. It can be really difficult. But the more you get into the practice, the better. I find myself, when I'm going through, like when there's like an emergency or a really important thing, like priority that pops up that I really need to put all of my energy into, I don't reserve any energy for the other stuff. So I let other things fall apart. That's when my desk starts getting really messy. That's when things around me, my life, starts getting just a little bit messier. And the more I can avoid that, the more that I can stay directed while still keeping all of my stuff together, the better I end up on the other side of it. Because what happens is when that period is over, when that mess is over, and we stop and take a breath and look around, and we're standing in a mess, then we have to recuperate and we have to reorganize ourselves before we can get moving again, and it hampers the progress that we can then make after that. A big place this happens that's not so negative, but it can be negative, is when people go on vacation. If you go on a trip or you go on vacation where your environment is not normally what you're used to, we tend to lose our habits. We tend to eat bad. We tend to not do the healthy things for ourselves, whether it's exercising, taking our vitamins, journaling, doing Define My Day, whatever. And I've found that when I have committed to sticking to my regular process, not only do I enjoy the vacation more or the trip more, I'm also better at the end of it. When you need a vacation from your vacation, like when you get back, you have that hangover. If you stick with your regular routine and keep your body in this normal place, when you get back, you can kind of hit the ground running and keep going because you've never really stopped. And so you want to kind of keep that concept as you do anything that's disruptive in your life. And a vacation is disruptive. As enjoyable as they might be, they are disruptive. So, we have to, a lot of people have that concept of like, I'm going on vacation, I don't want to have to think anything. That's great. But what's the negative that's happening on the other side of it? We don't want to dig ourselves a hole by fooling ourselves into thinking, well, I'm just letting it all go. You're probably not. You're just kicking it down the road. Somebody's making a rug for a gift. That's awesome, because that's probably one of your values, right? You want to give somebody something that is important and meaningful and valuable because you've invested so much time into it. That's part of your value system, and that's why making a rug is a priority for you. That's awesome. Basement project. I have had that in the past. Organizing the house, because there's somebody here that's using organizing their house. They're using Define My Day to organize their house. Great, good for you. And I know the progress you've made on that. So that's you've done really well, and that's consistency. That's actually a really good consistency, because in the very beginning, I think you're still sticking to the time. Is it 15 minutes a day? You would clean 15 minutes a day, and that was it. And that was your priority, 15 minutes a day, every day. And that 15 minutes a day adds up to a couple hours every week. And so every week you'd have a couple of hours of organizing your house done, when most people, let it build up, and then one weekend they have to take the entire weekend to do it. But that build up led to a very messy house along the way. So when you do it 15 minutes every day, you have a nice house all the time, and you never have to make that gigantic investment of time. Good morning, Kathy. I think that's it for the comments from yesterday. Oh, not exercised. Exercising is one to give up easily. I'm in the middle of giving up on exercise for a week now. I've literally not had time because I've been doing a lot of stuff. Now, I've said I've not had time. I could have made time. I could have done it in my basement. I could have made time. I have made the decision to take a week-long break because I know I have too much going on, and I didn't want to sacrifice my time with my kids or my time reading or some of the other things I do. So I gave up on exercise, but I'm not hamstringing or I'm not shooting myself in the foot with that by overeating also. So I'm very conscious of what I'm eating right now so that I don't blow things up and go completely the opposite direction. Kathy says, consistency isn't as much a problem for me since using Define My Day as a goal setting is at the moment. Okay, my emphasis was kind of on the wrong syllable or the wrong word. Consistency isn't as much a problem for me since using Define My Day. It's not as much of a problem as goal setting is at the moment. So goal setting, that's a tough one, right? Sometimes, I don't know where your problems are with goal setting, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit about what your struggles are there. But goal setting for me, a lot of times in the very beginning, I didn't know what my goals were. I had a general sense of direction. And this goes back to what we were talking about in the very beginning, firing bullets, pew, pew, rather than firing cannonballs, boom, right? So when you don't know exactly what your goals are, you just want to move in the general direction that you feel compelled to move and avoid anything, if the direction is here, Like the goal is here, but we don't know what it is yet. It's a little foggy, right? So, and it's, or maybe it's somewhere out here. But so we just want to move in the general direction and then narrow that focus as we figure it out. And as we close doors to things we feel we don't like or that aren't right for us. What we don't want to do with that sense of direction, what we don't want to do is go back that way, you know? So, if I would have, my career path is a very good example of this. I had the IT company for 15 years, and going through that whole process of running that company, I was refining my process with that company, and my overall goal was to help people resolve their problems, to develop focus, and to help them be more productive in their lives. I was using computers as part of it. Now, I had visions of a big computer company, but something felt wrong with it, right? Something didn't feel aligned with who I was. I liked helping people, not so much fixing their computers or doing the IT work. So I found myself, as I was going down that path, going, wait a minute, something's not right. I like part of this. I just don't like all of it. And so that's how I started making my change. So I was heading in the right direction. I just needed to shift a little bit to go this way, right? That's why we're here. So if I would have said at some point in time, though, I don't like this, I'm not really into this IT work anymore. I don't see myself doing this until I'm 70. There's just a lot of things I don't like about it. So I'm going to go back to school and be a welder. Or I am going to be an engineer. Or I am going to be a school teacher. Right? I could have done any one of those things. I could have been a carpenter. I could have been a plumber. I could have, like, whatever could have made me money, right? And a lot of those jobs, all of those jobs make pretty decent money. But I wouldn't have been happy. I would have spent years through apprenticeships or school, climbing up the ladder, working a corporate job. I heard that a lot. Why don't, you're a smart guy, go work for a corporation. I knew in my gut I could have made money doing that, probably 6 figures. It would not have felt right for me. That was over here. That was back here. That wasn't this direction. I knew I was somewhere near it. I just needed to refine it. I needed to fire more bullets and then fire my cannonball once I figured out what I wanted to do. So I consistently went with this feeling and just adjusted it. I didn't grab the first job that came my way. I didn't grab the first opportunity that might have paid me, that might have solved financial issues I might have been having at the time. I didn't take the quick win or the easy way out because I knew it didn't align with where I wanted to go. So if you don't know what your goals are, follow your values, follow your energy. What are you doing each day that makes you feel energized? Like, wow, that was really great. I want to do more of that. And then maybe you do that and then you feel a little bit tired by it. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So then what component of that gave you energy? What was giving you the feeling? For 15 years doing IT work gave me energy until it didn't. And then I had to figure out what part of it gave me energy. Well, teaching people how to be more productive, teaching people how to get where they want to go in life, teaching people how to avoid distractions, to focus on that thing that matters most to get them where they want to go, to stop engaging in activity that's wasting their time and energy. That's it. Boom, cannonball. Let's go. Right? So follow your values, follow your energy, and keep evaluating it. And by doing the journaling work every night, you're increasing, you're being consistent about improving that result. Right? You feel like you're heading in the right direction by focusing on your daily disciplines for the moment, at least. Great. Continue that. That's exactly what you want to do. And that's the process I followed. I followed that daily discipline routine, and I kept writing down priorities that I thought aligned with where I wanted to go. And then through the journaling, I could evaluate how those priorities made me feel. And sometimes I worked on something and I said, you know what? That felt like a waste of time. That didn't move me anywhere I want to go. And so I vowed never to do that thing again or never to place it in front of other things. And you figure it out. And eventually the fog lifts a little bit. You refine your focus, the fog lifts, and you start making really quick progress towards where you want to go. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. All right, I'm going to let you all get back to work, and I'm going to get to work. I just heard Luann walk in the door, so I'm going to go hang out with her and see what's going on for our day today. I hope you guys are all doing well. I appreciate you all joining me. It's we got a lot of people here for a Tuesday morning, so thank you very much. Have a great day. Keep moving forward. I'll see you soon.